You heard us talk a lot about this here on JAKIB Media, and it's our great partnership with the EBOD Foundation, the EBOD Foundation to help combat Alzheimer's as well as dementia. We have a very special event going on right here at JAKIB Media that involves yours truly, Derek Gunn, Seth Joyner, as well as Mike Missinelli, when you could get involved in the big Score for a Cure contest. And what does that get you? That gets you possibly tickets to the big game as well as $2,000 worth of spending money in Las Vegas. So do yourself a favor. Just like in football, you can only rely right now on the strength of your players and the strength of a community. And this football fan base and its community wants to help the people combat Alzheimer's with the EBOD Foundation. Right now, you could text the word SCORE to 833-202-9835. That's 833-202-9835. And use promo codes Team Miss, Team Seth, Team Gunn, and Team Farzi as well. Now, what does that win you? Well, I'll tell you this. It wins you 2 tickets to the big game, 2 nights in a hotel, as well as $2,000 in cash expenses, all when you text the word SCORE to 833-202-9835. You win, and you get in. Simple as that. We'll be having a nice little friendly golf wager as well to help put you in the stands there for the big game. And still, somehow, magically, Team Miss just ahead of Team Joyner, with Team Gunn coming up the rear and me distant fourth. Go figure. So make sure you guys take advantage of all they have to offer right there. And also, Tuesday is Giving Tuesday for the EBOD Foundation as well.
That was very well done. And, I need to extend my lead. So next week on the show, I'll be wearing like a little Napoleon Dynamite action. Vote for Mikey Miss T-shirt.
Yeah. You better watch. I'm going to have a Jalen Hurts-like comeback in the second half.
Vote for Pedro. Vote for Mikey Miss.
Self-promotion.
Dynamite. Anybody
Don't
who
you
gets
just
that reference.
loathe self-promotion?
I admire it.
It's getting too
a hell of a
close
move
now. Getting too close with Seth. It is time for Game Balls, and it's brought to you by Colony Pools. Check out flywithcolony.com. Let Colony Pools power wash your home. Good time to get it done, by the way. Or if you need the pool closed, you get that Kelly Green pool closing. That's really cool. The canvas in Kelly Green. And also you can get a Kelly Green jersey. So check out the website, flywithcolony.com. Time for Game Balls, crew. I sit here and I go, how could I not give it to Jalen Hurts? Right? I mean, is there really a debate on this right now? I mean, his numbers aren't great. Okay, you're not going to look at the numbers and see that it's a great numbers day for Jalen Hurts, while the other guy accounted for 400-plus yards. But he makes the clutch plays, and 3 touchdowns in the second half, and the one pass on a scramble to Zacchaeus is just one of the great plays you're ever going to see. So game ball for me goes to Jalen Hurts.
Well, it's hard to argue with that. Also 5 touchdowns to Josh Allen's measly 4. That guy sucks. But the other thing to go with that, Mike, is I just saw this from the Eagles. I want to get this stat in right now. Best coach quarterback record through the first 45 games. Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts are 34-11 in that stretch. They are up there with the names of Don Shula and Dan Marino, 35-10, LaFleur and Rodgers, whatever, mostly Rodgers, 36-9, and Reed and Mahomes, who are pretty good at football as well, 36-9. That's the best since the merger in 1970.
Brady and Belichick is not in there?
Not on there, surprisingly.
Really?
That is surprising.
All right.
Not on there.
I'll take that.
That's according to the Elias Sports
They weren't
Bureau.
they weren't that prolific until later on down the road. The defense in the beginning was the part of that team that won them their first 2 Super Bowls. It wasn't until Peyton figured out how to beat them that they went to a spread offense, and they just exploded offensively from there. Those first couple of years, it was the defense.
Good trivia question.
To answer your question, the question that's out there now regarding the game ball, I don't know how many times we're getting an opportunity to do it. There's a couple of names that are out there, but I am just still baffled that somehow, magically, of all the times the football gods or sports gods have frowned on Philadelphia, Jalen Carter somehow became a member of the Philadelphia sports community through that draft. And he came up with an epic game tonight, an incredible game tonight, was obviously a force to be reckoned with throughout the football game. But then you look at him, the way he was able to block that field goal, really helped turn the tides of the game. I'm going to give my game ball to Jalen Carter.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with the other Jalen, though, and Jalen Hurts. I think I have to agree, with Mike here. I think you look at this guy and you say, okay, 5 touchdowns is really good as well. The first player ever to have 10-plus consecutive touchdowns in 3 straight years. Not only that, but I feel like in recent memory for the Philadelphia Eagles, I have never thought of a quarterback that can go into a game with 90 seconds left on the clock, and I am sure that he can go up the field and win the game. You're talking about a guy that is trying to play on a level of confidence like Tom Brady and Pat Mahomes. When those guys go in, there could be 40 seconds left on the clock, and you're confident that they can go down the field and score the ball. That's what Jalen Hurts is turning into if he hasn't already. It's game after game. He looked maybe more brushed up last season, but the way that he's able to win and battle adversity this year, it's fantastic to see. I don't know how you can't get it.
And especially, Kayla, with the response in the first half when people were just ready, they had the knives out for him. What's wrong with him today? What's the deal with him today? Right?
He's going to find a way to win, though.
The script always gets flipped. Seth, who's your game ball?
It can't be anybody but Jalen Hurts. 4 for 11 through the first half, and a touchdown and an interception. 7 carries for 22 yards and 99 total net yards in the first half, and to walk away with a 3-point win in this game. The guy did it last week. He turned it on again this week, and I don't understand, how it could be anybody else but that. You go 3 touchdowns in a row, then you punt, then you go a field goal on a 9-play drive to tie the game, and then after giving up a field goal to have the lead in the overtime, you drive your team 9 plays, 75 yards, and cap it off with a quarterback run to win it in overtime. There's nobody else. He is the heartbeat of the team. He is the reason why this team is winning the way they are. I don't care what anybody on the national level has to say. Jalen Hurts is a major player in the National Football League. And you can hate as long as you want, but 10-1 is 10-1, and the proof is in the pudding. Point blank, period. If I had a mic, I wouldn't just drop it. I'd slam that son of a gun on the floor right now.
You know who didn't get any love today? Maybe I'd give it a quarter of a game ball. DeAndre Swift had a quiet 80 yards, and he had a really big run. But let's go into our drive of the game, because we have a couple ways we can go. The obvious thing is the drive of the game that wins it in overtime, which was a great drive. But for me, guys, Buffalo has a 10-point lead. It's 24-14. And the Eagles go 7 plays, 75 yards on that drive to make it 24-21. Didn't take the lead, but it got them right back in the swing of things. And it started out with a little 4-yard DeAndre Swift, and then they go 33 yards with a deep pass to the left side to Devontae Smith, and that got them into Buffalo territory. From there, they're just chip away. And that's where the great play call, Brian Johnson, comes with the fake screen, and then hitting Devontae in the middle for a 15-yard TD. 7 plays, 75 yards to make it 24-21. To me, that's the drive of the game.
I think with all the criticism that Brian Johnson has taken so far this season, there's one thing I think most people should be able to agree with. And that is when you break down a young player in the league, somebody that might have some promise, you say you've seen flashes. You've seen flashes of something that could be great. I have certainly seen flashes, at least from Brian Johnson this year, and I think if most people are being honest with themselves, fake screens have kind of been a big part of that flash. The jet sweep last week against Kansas City Chiefs, that was a flash. That fake screen in particular, where you're able to see Devontae Smith in the end zone for the touchdown, that was a flash of some great play calling, and hopefully what's more great play calling to come from Brian Johnson. But yeah, I think that was a great job and a great way to cap it off.
I'm going to go with what was an interception that ended up turning into a score as well. You talk about James Bradberry, and we set it up in the green room. He was getting burnt a little bit, and then all of a sudden he comes up with a huge play that we called at halftime. Josh Allen's going to turn the ball over. Well, it was James Bradberry that was able to make it happen. And then on 3rd and 15, the third down game was going to the Buffalo Bills all night long. The Eagles defense just couldn't stop it. But 3rd and 15, Jalen Hurts airs it out to Olamide Zaccheaus. You guys talked about it. Not only was it a fantastic catch, but also a great throw by Jalen Hurts, the confidence that he had to be able to do that. That puts them up in the game in the fourth quarter. And from there, for me, I said the Philadelphia Eagles, because of that play, that confidence, they're going to win the game. Seeing what Jalen can do with spreading the ball with other guys on the field is a big reason why they're able to win these games.
And to your point, Seth, that was coached by Jalen Hurts. After the game, Olamide Zaccheaus, when he was addressing the media, flat out said, I just went where Jalen told me to go, and that's where the ball found him.
Well, there's a lot of drives that you can pick here. From the 9th drive on, they go touchdown, punt, field goal, touchdown to win the game. And you can pick a lot of them. But I agree with Kayla here because 3rd and 15 for a touchdown, that is like insane. Because, you know, if they don't complete that, more than likely they kick the field goal. They kick the field goal, they lose the game. They don't win this game. They lose the game. You know, they're down by 7 instead of being down by 3 when Jake has to kick that field goal. So now we're throwing a Hail Mary and hoping that we come up with the play that actually wins the game. So that play was critical, absolutely critical. It's one thing to be 3rd and 15 and you figure out a way to convert it, but 3rd and 15 for a touchdown, that's game-changing, season-changing, psych-changing, mentality-changing. It changed everything in that football game to me.
I'm still going with the final drive of the game for the
That's a
touchdown.
good one.
No,
Simply because they faced 1 third down on that entire drive, and they had everything clicking. They had to obviously score the touchdown for the win. Nobody wanted to see a tie, obviously, but to see them be able to convert the way they did.
You picked the drive of the game as the one that actually wins the game.
How dare I?
Exactly.
I gave Jalen Hurts a game ball, or Jalen Carter a game ball. I had to capitalize on one of these.
Hey, listen, don't get me wrong, Mark. It's a great drive, but they don't get to that point without that 3rd and 15 completion.
Sure.
You know, the Bradbury interception, the first turnover of the game, they capitalized on it. Something that the Eagles have not been doing, that other teams have been doing to our defense, is they've been converting turnovers to points. They actually converted, you know, that turnover to 7 points, and it was huge because if they kick a field goal there, you know Jake Elliott's going to make that field goal. You know, they're in a 4-point deficit, you know, in the big scheme of things, and they probably don't win that football game.
And guess what? It wasn't A.J. Brown. It wasn't Devontae Smith. It was Olamide Zaccheaus. Jalen Hurts able to find everybody. A big reason why he could be and is in the MVP conversation.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season. And let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.